What's going on, fantasy world, man? It's your boy Hot Soup, man. I'm coming in with one of our favorite segments, I Told You So. I always go over our last week's top 5 starts, top 5 sits, picks, man. Tell you, did we hit or did we hit fool's gold? That's right, man. We had a couple fool's golds, couple hits on our starts last week. Drake London was number 5. I just want to go over Drake London real quick. He went out in the third quarter, so we got to scratch that. Didn't get a full game. He went out with a groin injury. Hopefully, he gets healthy soon. That's been one of my big guys for upcoming second half of the season. Not looking good for Drake with a groin injury. You know, those things can linger and keep you out for weeks. So hopefully he gets healthy soon. Number 4 on our I Told You So was Christian Kirk. I expected Christian Kirk to have a big game. He did not. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a big game. Ridley didn't have a big game. It was just bad overall. I think the best receiver over there was the tight end, Evan Ingram. He had a decent game. Ended up with like 12, 13 points in fantasy scoring. So Christian Kirk ended up with 6.6 points, only had 4 receptions for 46 yards on 5 targets. Etienne had a beastly game out the backfield, catching the ball and running the ball. That's what happened, man. Game script didn't go how I thought. On that one. Number three off my board was Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert did exactly what I said he was going to do. Went for 300 yards, 3 TDs, had 1 yard rushing, no picks. Justin Herbert had a hell of a game. Ended up with number 7 quarterback on the week. So that was definitely a hit for me. Breece Hall, also a hit for me. Now, Breece Hall could have had a way bigger game. The man ended up with 18.3 fantasy points, 12 rushes for 17 yards, and had 6 receptions for 71 yards and a touchdown. Now, that man had most of those points in the first quarter. And with that said, man, the last 3 quarters, they did absolutely nothing with Breece Hall. That game was stuck in limbo. It was a terrible offensive game. Ended up having a lot of punts, and game script could have went a lot better. However, he did end up being the number 7 running back in the 1 quarter. So with that said, man, he's explosive. We know he's a home run hitter, and he needs to be in your lineups, a locked in start week in and week out, no matter the matchup. And Isaiah Pacheco, I burnt on that one, but it burnt. Isaiah Pacheco ended up with 5.2 points. He had 8 rushes, 40 yards, 3 receptions for -3 yards. The game script was terrible. Everybody in the world was thinking KC is going to be up on Denver. Denver has the worst defense in the league, and Denver ended up getting out early and never looked back. Patrick Mahomes had to pass the ball, and they shut that down as well. So big ups to Denver's defense. And Denver getting a win on KC over there, you know, it just proves that anybody can win any given Sunday. Best teams can lose in a game. It doesn't matter, man. It's all about game script. There goes your top 5 starts. We went over now. We're going to go over our top 5 sits, and I told you so, and how I fared off. Number 41 receiver on the week was DK Metcalf. That was my number 1 sit for the week. Like I said, they were going to be blanketing him. They did a great job on defense. That man had 14 targets and only ended up with 5 receptions for 67 yards, right around what I told you he'll be at in my forecast. He ended up a receiver number 41 on the week. Joe Mixon salvaged himself with a touchdown. He did have a more decent day than I thought he would. Joe Mixon ended up number 6, and I told y'all to sit him. I apologize. Number 6 running back in fantasy scoring, 16 rushes, 87 yards, had a touchdown and 3 receptions for 23 yards. Number 3 running back that I had to sit was Derrick Henry this week. Derrick Henry ended up with 22 rushes for 101 yards. He did not get in the end zone, but he did have 4 receptions for 21 yards, which is unexpected. Will Levis was the starter, which in turn, he was airing it out, which opened up those running lanes a lot more. I didn't know Tannehill was going to be benched, and that's why I called out the Henry pick. But I would have also called out the Henry pick anyway with Levis, not thinking that Levis was going to air it out like he did. I don't see him getting a lot of work when they're playing from behind. Tua Tagovailoa, told y'all to bench him this week. Didn't have a great game, but he had a game where you shouldn't have benched him. He was over top 10. He ended up number 9 quarterback in fantasy scoring with 22.76 points. Ended up throwing for 324 and 3 TDs, and he had a pick. Man, did I not call that correct? I thought Bill Belichick was going to do a better job. Last time he played Bill Belichick, he had held him for 13 points in fantasy scoring. Great job, too, against New England's tough defense and that Bill Belichick scheme. Hollywood Brown ended up number 22. Not a great game. He salvaged his day with a touchdown in the last quarter in garbage time. Hollywood Brown going against Baltimore ended up with 12.3 points. He only had 5 receptions, for like 18 yards through the full game, which I was pretty much correct on that. However, he did end up getting in the end zone with salvage his day. He ended up number 22 again. Did not have a great day on my picks. Ended up 4 out of 10. So, we'll have better days, man. Usually the soup's around 60, 65%, and it's been that way for the first 6 weeks. Last week I had a terrible week. This week I had a terrible week. I got to get it back on track, y'all. But stay with me, all right? High Soup Fantasy Football. Come check me out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Like and subscribe. It's your boy High Soup. I'm in and I'm out.